There are currently 10 new Pokemon and 1 new regional form coming out in the new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games. Now today we're going to look at some shiny predictions, some shiny speculations if you will, and we're going to look at between 3 and 5 different shiny models, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I think, which one I prefer out of the models that we're going to look at today, and then we'll have a little bit of a chat about what we think Game Freak will choose out of those based on trends and the way that Game Freak choose their shiny Pokemon. And when the game comes out, we'll see how accurate we are. Let me know down in the comments below which one of these you really like or which ones you hate or what your opinions are as well. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Your subscriptions fund poor little Aerodactyl plushies like this who have seen better days and giving them new homes. All right, let's get into the video. All right, now these shiny speculations you're about to see are made by Artimyss, who's one of my mods in my Twitch channel. So you can check out their Twitter, which I will link in the profile below. Now, first up is Sprigatito, which I think is the one I'm going to go for so far. I'm loving all these starters. Sprigatito may just be my favorite so far. So let's have a look. All right, our first option, I really like a minty kind of color. Like I love shiny Registeel, shiny Snom, those kind of minty colored ones. So this is looking very cool. Very cool. I like that a lot. Secondly, all right, purple's quite a bit different. I don't mind that actually. That's looking really cool too. I do like shinies that are really different from their originals. I'm not a fan of ones that are very similar. And I just noticed has got green eyes as well. So the eye color's changed. So that's pretty cool. All right, more of a golden one. Okay. And the eyes are changed again. Instead of being kind of reddish and a bit more pinkish, I would say. But kind of looking golden or kind of like maybe like a greeny gold maybe. Not too bad. I think I still prefer the mint one so far as my favorite. All right, this one's kind of similar, more of a darker green or like a heavier kind of green, and the eyes are popping a little bit more with that red. Very similar. And our last one, again, kind of like that golden color, but maybe more like a yellowy or a greeny kind of, not such a great glittering gold like we saw before. And again, the eye color is kind of a bit more similar here. Now, looking at all of these here, we can see obviously the regular Sprigatito in the bottom middle, and we've got all the options that we just looked at. So out of these, I'm still going to say number 1 was my favorite. The bottom left corner here, we've got like the minty Sprigatito is my favorite, but let me know in the comments which Sprigatito is your favorite. Now, in terms of which one Game Freak might choose, I really hope it's not option 4 because it's very similar, but I wouldn't be surprised actually if they do one that's very similar. Very much a green that is maybe just a little off hue. All right, a lot of people's favorite is Fuecoco. All right, number 1. Oh, I love that kind of green. That very green, like a grass green, looks very cool. I like that a lot. We can see the yellow is still kept, but the green is very nice. Number 2. Okay, again, here's that one that's sort of not all that different. This is definitely a deeper, like a crimson kind of red, so it's quite noticeable, but again, a similar kind of color. Not so much orangey anymore. Number 3 is golden. So they kind of swap the colors here, actually, because the patch on his chest is sort of that orangey, reddish kind of color, so they've done a bit of a swap there. The patch on the tail is the same though. Maybe if that was orange, that would be a bit different, but the golden one's pretty cool. There is a lot of yellow here. We've still got that patch on the tail. The hairs or whatever that is on the head as well is still yellow. The color change is cool, but maybe just too much yellow. Oh, I don't know about this. I do love a black shiny, but I don't know if changing the face would look all that great. I don't think that looks very good. I'm not sure about that one. But there we go. All right, this is it. This is definitely my number 1 pick. Instead of the red, we've got the black. I do love a black shiny. That looks really cool, and it works really well with the gold on it as well. I think this would be my favorite here. And yeah, looking at them all together, number 5, the black and gold one is definitely my favorite. Let me know which one is yours. I think that looks awesome. I'll be really happy if Game Freak did something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe if they were feeling like it, they might do the last one. I think it looks really clean. We don't see a lot of black shinies, unfortunately, but I think it looks really good. You know, you've got your Sandygast and your Rayquaza and stuff like that. There's a few black ones out there, so this could be really cool if they did a black one. I'm going to go with that for what Game Freak might choose. All right, so let's look at Quaxly next. First of all, I like a pinky kind of pinky purple maybe. And I can also see the eyes have changed color to the pinky purple as well. So that looks pretty cool, looking very different. Golden is interesting. I'm going to say again, lots of yellow because the beak is also yellow. I don't know. All was missing was the eyes and then just all be yellow and white. Not so sure about that one. It's not bad. Again, it's very different, which is good. I like the ones that are really different. All right, this is, I guess, the standard. We've got one that's not all that different. It's noticeably deeper of a blue color, which is good, but still kind of similar. Hope it's not something that's like this, unfortunately. All right, another minty one looks very cool. I do like that. I do like the mint. And then Oh, it's the beak. Okay, the beak is different. For a second, I was like, that's still the same. The beak is orange here. I'm not sure about changing the orange. I think for the shiny color to change, it would have to be the hat and the feet would be the main thing. And looking at them all here, maybe I do like the gold the best. I do like the minty one, but let's just choose something different. Maybe the golden one would be kind of cool, actually, even though there is a lot of yellow in it. In terms of what I think Game Freak might do, they might do the gold one, actually. I don't see them changing the eye color, so I don't think it's going to be number 1. So maybe number 2 or even number 3 is what I think Game Freak will choose. All right, Lechonk took the world by storm when it was first announced. So I'm excited to see what these could look like. Maybe some kind of like white one. It's interesting when you've got a very dark colored Pokemon having the complete opposite and having a white one. So let's see what comes up. All right, pink this time. Interesting. That is very different. I'm not sure about like the purpley to the pink on the face is not all that much of a contrast compared to the original Lechonk, which is obviously quite different. This one, all right, the brown one's not too bad. Again, not much of a contrast between the face and the rest of the body, but I do like the brown kind of pig. Almost looks a bit more realistic, I guess, with a real pig. All right, this one, I'm not sure about this one, how it only changes the face color. I'm not sure about that. Still keeping the rest of the body the same color. I'm just not a fan of that color. Again, leaving the body the same. I think if they made the shiny change some of its color, I think it would have to be the body, not just the face, because it's sort of an unusual part to change anyway. But I'm not sure that kind of puke green color I'm not a fan of. And then the last one, we've still got the brown face, but we've got the pink body here. So again, quite different. I'm not sure about these Lechonk choices. I think out of these, my favorite might be the chocolate looking one. Number 2, I think may be my favorite. I think that's really cool. Lechonk's colors in general can be kind of hard to work with, I think. In terms of what Game Freak will do, they could do something like just changing the color of the little patch under the eye, which none of these changed. I don't see them doing like a drastic change like something like number 1 or 5. I don't see them doing that. Maybe like a lighter gray on the body. All right, looking at Smoliv, already I'm saying there must be a black olive. I've seen so many people on Twitter and things saying that there has to be a black olive. For Smoliv, that would make a lot of sense. And I love shinies that make sense. You know, if you got shiny Wooloo, which is a black sheep instead of a white sheep, shiny Applin is a green apple instead of a red apple, like that makes sense. So a black olive would make sense here. So let's have a look what we've got. All right, and there we go. Our black olive, perfect. I love that. The rest of it is just staying the same. Just that olive is changing to black. I think this is perfect. Oh, I don't even need to look at the others. This is what I want. Number 2, changing it to a red olive. It doesn't look too bad. It is kind of cool, but look, we just have to go with that black olive, I think, so far. Oh, I don't know about that. That is very harsh. That's a very harsh black for the olive, but also changing the whole body as well, I think is too much. The whole red is kind of nice. I don't mind it. As I said, I do like shinies that are really different and are big color changes, but I think we're just gonna have to go with number 1 here. Oh, and okay, the golden one's not too bad, but you can't change my mind on the black olive. All right, this is an easy one here. Number 1, lock it in. That's what I'm going to go for. And you know what? I think Game Freak will agree. I think Game Freak will do number 1. I think if they do anything else, they'll just be public outrage, and they're not ready for that. So number 1. All right, Paulme is next, which is a very cute Pokemon, but there's a lot of colors here that they can play with. There's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really different colors on this Pokemon. So let's see what we can find. First up is more of a golden one. Okay, I don't mind this actually. This is kind of cool. Maybe a bit more because it is a Pika clone, looking a bit more like Pikachu, which is not a bad idea. I do like the golden one. Second one's a bit more like a chocolatey or maybe like a coffee kind of color, which I think is also nice. It also works very nicely with the tan in the tail and the paws as well. So that actually works quite nicely, actually. All right, number 3, again, kind of looking like a coffee kind of color, but this time changing the paws in the tail. If we go back here, oh, it's a bit lighter as well, this new one. So kind of like that coffee kind of color, which is not bad. I don't mind that. I think I prefer number 2 at this stage still though. Number 4 is very bright, that orange, I would say. I'm not such a big fan of that one. And I think again, I do like the purple, but I feel like the contrast is just too much with the paws and the tail. I think that's too much, although the purple is nice and it works. I think the purple looks really nice with the green in the ears, but not so much the rest of it. So looking at all of them, I'm liking number 2 probably the most, that kind of like chocolatey kind of one, and I think it works really well with the rest of the colors in it as well. In terms of what Game Freak would pick, I wouldn't be surprised if they did a yellow one, maybe a bit more of like a softer yellow than number 1, but something like yellowish I could see them doing, I think. All right, Fido may be one of my new favorite Pokemon that have just come out, and I absolutely love the name on it, so I'm excited to see what they could do here. Obviously looking like bread or pastry or something. Be interesting if that kind of line continues with the shiny as well, what other pastries or deliciousness we can come up with. First of all, okay, yeah, kind of looking maybe like a coffee kind of scroll or a chocolate kind of scroll. scroll, or even maybe like a caramel kind of scroll. I don't mind that, and I think that's the kind of vibe that we have to go for, where we're changing the yellow, not necessarily changing the whole body is what I'm looking for here, I think. Second one, okay, this is more of a darker one. This is definitely the chocolate one. I do like that a lot. Third, okay, see, this is kind of talking about that light brown is not bad, but I think it's just too much. I think we just needed some more subtle changes for this, where we change the yellow, not so much something like this, although it does look really cool. All right, this step number 4 is like a silvery kind of gray, I think, which is not bad actually. If you look at like a gold and a silver, that one kind of makes sense rather than looking at the pastry, I guess. And the last one, did we have this one already? This is like another chocolatey kind of one, another brown, which does look very cool. I do like the chocolate one a lot. Now that we're looking at them here, we can see there's a slight difference between 2 and 5. Obviously, number 2 is a little bit darker. I would say 2 and 5 would be my favorites, where it's just a bit of a chocolate change. Not so sure about number 3, and I can't see Game Freak doing something like number 3. And I think somewhere between 1, 2, and 5 is what Game Freak would end up going with. They all very similar, and I think if I just had to pick one, number 2 is the one that I'll go with. I think it looks the most chocolatey. All right, the Paldean Wooper, the first new regional form that we have in Paldea. So let's have a look at what we can do here. Now, usually an option that could be is something reverting back to the original Wooper. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a blue one here. And yep, first one out is the original blue one, which is cool because it's very different, but I hope they don't do the original one, because I think the Paldean Wooper and the original Wooper are kind of similar in what they look like. So I hope it's not the blue one, even if it is really different. The golden one looks kind of cool, actually. I don't mind that. And they also changed the chest on it as well to make it a little bit lighter, which I do like. So I don't mind the golden one, actually. Number 3 is kind of like a violet kind of color, which isn't too bad. I think I still prefer the other one. They've kept the chest the same here. Violet's not too bad. Kind of too similar to like the side parts, so I'm not sure about that. Number 4 is kind of like silver, I would say, so not too bad again. I still think the other one might be my favorite so far, though. The silver's not bad. I do like a mint colored shiny. That green is very, very nice. I do like that a lot, actually. Looking at all of them, ooh, for me, it's going to be between number 2 and number 5, I think, are my favorites. But in terms of what Game Freak might do, they may do number 1. That's going to be what I'm going to pick. I think they're going to do number 1. But for me, let's say number 5. The green one looks sick. Okay, so Titan is the next one that was released in the new trailer, which looks very, very cool. I'll be interested to see what they can do with this one. First of all, okay, changing it from the pink side to the blue, which is kind of interesting. Like that eyeshadow, I guess, and the bits on the tail and the fin changing to blue, which looks really nice. I do like that kind of sky blue as well, so that's not too bad. Ooh, I'm not sure about the black one here. I don't think this will happen. I can't see Game Freak doing a big change like this. I think changing the eyeshadow and the little markings is what they'll probably go for. I think this is too much of a change. All right, I do like this one a lot, though. Speaking of big changes, I think it's just the blue. The blue just settles, I guess, a bit more. It looks a lot more cleaner than what the black one did. So this blue one is actually looking really cool. It mixes the blue and the pink. So number 1 that had that light kind of blue. So now it's taking over the whole body, which is very cool. Number 4 changes to black, which I do like. I do like that a lot, actually. That looks really nice. And last one, kind of like an olive green. I'm not a big fan of the olive green, actually, so I'm not sure about this one. Looking at all of this Titans, I think actually, you know what, I think number 3 is my favorite. I think that light blue looks really nice on the whole thing. In terms of what Game Freak will do, I can see Game Freak doing something a bit more subtle, maybe something like number 4 or even number 1 if they wanted to do, if they chose blue. The legendaries are coming up next, but before we get to them, let me give a quick plug to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/metalfear4, while we're streaming lots of Scarlet and Violet when it comes out, so make sure you go and follow there. The link is in the bio. Let's get to these legendaries now. Corydon is up first, and I cannot wait to have a look at these because I always love looking at shiny legendaries. So let's see what we can do with Corydon. There's lots of colors to play with here. First of all, the golden one looks amazing. I love that golden one. I'm glad that they didn't do too much with all the other colors. They kept the blues, the whites, the pink. Everything else is kind of the same, but just that gold looks really, really clean. I like that a lot. That looks really nice. Second is the purple. Okay, you can see we're looking at the purple, we've got the scarlet and we've got the violet, so that makes sense, but I'm not sure about that. Maybe if it was a bit of a lighter kind of purple, like more like a violet color, I guess, instead of a deep purple would be better. And then lastly, this one is not all that different. They've changed, I guess, the blue to more like a brownie kind of color, which kind of fits with the Pokemon, but I think number 1 is my favorite there. And looking at all the legendaries here, let's have a look, and I think Corydon would look the best as a gold one. That one I think may be my favorite. And you know what? I think Game Freak could possibly do something like the golden one. I don't think that's too far-fetched for them to do. So I'm going to vote number 1, the golden one. Looks awesome. And lastly, the Miraidon, the last legendary. So let's have a look at what we can do. First of all, okay, we've got the red. So here's our transition again. We've got our Scarlet and our Violet options. So that looks really cool as red, actually. I really enjoy that. I think that looks really nice. Secondly, the blue. Okay, the blue is okay. I don't like it as much as the red, I don't think. It's kind of, I guess it's different to the purple, but it's still kind of similar-ish. So I'm not quite sure about the blue there. And then lastly, this is very similar. Oh, the yellow. They've changed the yellow, which I like the yellow on the original, actually. I'm not sure about this one, because there's just a lot of purple in this one. Even though it's the Violet Pokemon, I think that's too much purple. I prefer the original yellow. So looking at all of them, I think number 1 again would be my favorite, the red one, the Scarlet Miraidon. I think would look really cool. I think that would look like an amazing shiny Pokemon. And again, I think Game Freak might do that one. I think that could definitely be a potential. All right, there's the shiny speculations for what we have so far. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite was and also what your thoughts are, because I'd love to hear it. Make sure to check out the other videos as well and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.